going on, YouTube? Long time no see, man. I just had like 3 cups of coffee, so I'm kind of going absolutely bonkers today. We got some GSL replays. So a bit of a spoiler alert. If you haven't seen GSL, close this video, I guess, if you don't want it to be spoiled. Maybe low-key already spoiled. That being said, here we got Maru versus Hero. This is indeed from the GSL finals, and as always, I'm always messing something up at the beginning of the video. Let's get that fixed. You know what? Actually, let's also show the camera location. That would be good. All right, so obviously we're doing a Maru POV. So what are we doing? Well, if you watch the finals, you might have seen Maru do a particular Marine tank Liberator push that tends to start with a Medivac mine drop, and it's off Marine first. And I don't think the build's bad. I think it's actually pretty good. I think it is a bit hard to do, and I'm sure a lot of people watch this and were like, "Hey, I want to do this build. It's fucking kicking ass." So I want to do a video on it to help you do it right. That's what matters. The intent is good. You just gotta do it as good as you can. Okay, so we're gonna skip a little bit of this part here. Get rid of some of this boring stuff. So it is gonna be Marine first. This is a normal gas opener. Hero's gonna do a scout. I guess I'll explain some of the nuances of the build here. So essentially, it's actually very safe. It's like the best offense. I was like, your best defense is offense. Sorry, I almost completely messed that up. I was like, the best offense is offense. The best defense is offense, right? So you got an abundance of units early on. You're able to actually do damage across the map. But if you get counterattacked for whatever reason, you can actually have another army pretty much kind of like ready to defend at home. And which is what you're going to see happen here. So Marine first, no bunker. Why no bunker? Because you're going to have 3 Marines, which kill an adept. So that's why you don't see that here. If this adept goes straight across the map, which it is, it will run into these Marines. Now, it's also a bit better if you do it on a map that has a ramp. So if you do this build, it might be worth considering that. If your natural has a ramp, it's going to be even better. Maru does control group that supply depot here, so you can always lift it by pressing that button. Or it's go activities, right? And we're going to go for a double mine drop. So it's basically a Marine first mine drop. You just keep building Marines. You build workers, mules, drop mules, all that stuff. We're going to do a Medivac here. He burrows this just in case the adept finishes. He can kill it. Of course, no scouting done. Maru moment, right? He's going to grab, instantly start a tank first. So tank's going to be first, okay? So after 2 mines, Tech Lab, tank first. Again, you're building Marines and you're building workers during this time. If money's a little short, prioritize workers over Marines. So as you can see here, he's got 2 SCVs in production, but he doesn't have enough money to start the Marines, and he also doesn't have enough money to start a Liberator. So which one does he choose? Well, we're going to figure that out, but make sure that you keep building SCVs during this time. Looks like he wants to start a Liberator, judging by him saving the money. So he's going to choose to build the Liberator first, followed by the Marines. Slight supply block. It's okay. You get a little bit nervous when you're playing the GSL finals. It's perfectly fine. And we're going to go straight for that mine drop. This map is actually pretty good for all the airspace here. So it's really hard to put the stalkers in the correct location. So for example, here, it's just pretty much unscouted till it gets here, correct? But, you know, realistically speaking, with your stalkers, where can you really have them to be entirely safe, especially with Blink not done yet, right? So, I mean, you could have them here maybe, but if he drops you in your natural, you're kind of cooked, right? And then same thing, if you leave him here, well, then you might get dropped in your main, like the corner of your main, right? So it's really not kind of hard, right? So this is the perfect map for it. He's going to play a bit with the target firing, some adepts being annoying. Here kind of comes that multitasking, right? With that 450 APM, Jesus H Christ. Now we're going to wait for 2 siege tanks here in the Liberator, correct? So again, Stalker poke is a bit easier to deal with, or a bit easier to deal with because of this whole ramp thing, right? It's going to rotate the mine drop back. Now, this is where I was talking about how it's kind of intense with the multitasking. So to just kind of explain how I would handle this, if I couldn't obviously multitask like Maru can, or maybe can't really replicate it as well. That's basically a nice way of me saying that you guys can't do this. We're going to send this mine drop back in, and that's okay. But what I would do first is I'd actually wait and route the Liberator first. So I would leave like the mine drop here, let's say, before you do your second turnaround. So we can wait to do the second drop until we have the Liberator rallied. So when the Liberator pops, you're going to rally it first, okay? Now, don't be a bum and like hug all the side of the map and kind of just rally like this. But then also don't just send it down the middle. Okay, so be efficient. Like, for example, here, you could kind of just go this, here, 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 and then there, right? Now, obviously, like, on this particular map, it's kind of hard to, like, go from here to here, right? You could get caught ahead of time by the stalkers if they're positioned here or here. So, on this map, it would be okay to siege you here, okay? But the reason why you want to send the Liberator to the main is because you want to avoid having too many units in the natural. You want them to send units in the main so that there's not a whole lot to stop this. Does that make sense? So if they have to leave 4 stalkers or 2 stalkers in the main, that really helps you a lot. Okay, once you get that Liberator rallied, then you want to A-click this. So again, this is before the mine drop. So Liberator rally first. Your second tank comes out, and then you're going to A-move across the map. Okay, now, as this is going across the map, it is going to get poked by stalkers, most likely, depending on your level or depending on what's happening in the game. Depending on how fast you are, if you're able to keep these tanks in the front, that helps help a lot. Because it basically just like tanks obviously can hurt stalkers, right? So if every time they try to kite with 4 stalkers or 5 stalkers, right? So in this case, 4 stalkers, right? It's going to take a couple of shots for 4 stalkers to kill a tank. But if you have 2 tanks hitting them every single time the stalker pokes, you can actually kill a stalker pretty quickly. So they also want to be careful about taking health damage, right? So if you drain the shields and they try to keep kiting you, those siege tanks will start chowing down the health, the HP. That might make it harder for them to hold the push later on. So once you do that, once you're sending this across the map, then you can send this mine drop in. And that's pretty much the order that I would take it in. Once you do the mine drop, if you can pick up the mines, like, try your best, sure, do it. But I would say don't really focus too hard on that. As soon as that mine drop goes in for the second drop, just save the medevac and leave the water mines there. And you can maybe leave the medevac here in the airspace and wait for this to get across the map. Again, this is not really that easy to do, but I know that people are going to do this no matter what. People are going to see it and be like, yeah, that's a sick build. I'm pushing across the map. I hate Protoss and I don't want to play a game that's longer than 8 minutes. I get it. Neither do I. Okay, but this is what we got to do. You got to play a little bit safe here. Okay. It's good to know what to do, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. So we force a recall, right? Saves the medevac. He's waiting for that second siege tank. He sees that the stalkers got recalled. So now he's going to go for it. Now, Hero here is not really expecting the Liberator, as you can clearly tell, right? Oh, I should also add one thing about this map very quickly, and that is that unless you mine out this mineral wall really early, it's very hard to put a pylon here quickly. And why is that important? There's no vision, right? So this Liberator can actually sneak through, or even a mine drop can actually sneak through, and unless you have a prior intuition or you actually saw that this is a possibility, then maybe it's different, right? But in this case, Hero clearly expected, or at least acknowledged the potential mine drop, but didn't really think about the Liberator, right? So now what's happening here, this is a little bit unlucky. He's trying to be very aggressive and send his stalkers across the map. Keep in mind, he just used recall, right? He just used recall, and he's got to waste a lot of time blinking. Here, the issue is Maru is transitioning behind this. He's going 3 racks. We're going to review the transition here in a bit. Let me go ahead and conclude the push. Maru's been building units consistently. He didn't do this build and then drop a third. Okay, so yes, there are some things to keep in mind with this opener, and that is here, if this push doesn't do damage, it gets shut down. Your stim's late, right? Clearly, he hasn't started +1. So if you compare this opener to a standard 3 racks opener, or sorry, 1, 1, 1, and 2, 3 racks opener, a lot of your timings are off. So in a way, you do want to do as much damage as you can with this. Otherwise, it may set you back significantly, okay? As in your +1 stim push is going to be very delayed, right? Your 3rd command center very delayed. So, but he actually has units. He actually has units coming out here. He has a siege tank, another siege tank on the way. Yes, it's gonna die, but the point more so is that there's nothing at home to defend. And currently, Maru has a better chance of killing things faster than Hero can. If that makes sense. Also, stalkers, for example, or if they get surrounded by SCVs, it's a bit worse, right? Marines, on the other hand, with a medevac and 2 tanks, you're not really gonna see the same damage potential there. So no immortal as well is kind of crazy. So he basically skipped the immortal and straight for Colossus. And now that Liberator is going to town. So I understand that this not be the scenario you find yourself in most of the time. A lot of times it's going to be you have 2 siege tanks here, you're slow pushing, Liberator's doing lots of damage. I would say the scenario you're most likely to find yourself in is you're canceling the 3rd base or killing the 3rd base while the Liberator gets a couple of probe kills and gets pushed away or something like that. I'm sure there'll be moments you actually kill somebody, entirely, but I would say you don't need to come into this opener with the expectation that it has to kill them. It definitely doesn't need to kill them. You do want to do some damage, however, and that damage can be different ways. It could be killing, actually trading out units, right? Trading very efficiently against units, canceling a base, killing a base, right? All that good stuff. So, it doesn't have to be straight up like I killed 20 probes, you know, that kind of damage. If that makes sense, I hope that makes sense. And then now, the game is gonna get very messy. Maru, of course, as you can tell, looks like he's cooking them, and he does cook them. And it becomes a cope fest afterwards. Now, before we end this video, let's go ahead and just review the part that we missed while I was explaining, which is the transition. So at 4:45, you're going to build a second barracks. Okay. 4:45, you're going to build a second barracks. You're going to build a Raven after the Liberator. You're going to keep building Marine tank. Okay. And then at 5:30 or so, here, you're going to drop your third barracks. Now, obviously, things are going to happen, right? You might be like microing your units as you move across the map and stuff like that. So it's okay if your barracks is like 5 seconds late, 6 seconds late, 7 seconds late, 8 seconds late, like that kind of stuff. Very normal, okay? But if you can hit this 5:30 thing, that would be fantastic, right? So there you go. He's going to build a Starport Tech Lab, Jesus, for this to start stim. And then he's going to swap these two. In this case, the game's just going bonkers, so that's why he starts Banshee. But ideally, he would swap these two and start that. Oops, I missed engineering bay as well. Sorry. I'm just like horrible at this. Somebody call you thermal, please. And then it's also going to be like a 5:25, 5:30 engineering bay, okay? You can also have this replay. Or actually, what I'll do is I'll have this build order lined out. I'll put a spawning tool. Am I allowed to do that? Well, hopefully I didn't just commit a violation there. And then I'll post it down below. Otherwise, yeah, that's actually pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you find it helpful if you're thinking about doing this push. I actually did this push a lot, or similar pushes to this when I was playing competitively, especially like 2022. It's like really fun build to do. I have a couple of games that I remember playing it. Oh yeah, of course. Ego over here. But yeah, if you have any questions about this build, feel free to comment down below. Hope you guys found this video helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.